Okay, so welcome everybody to the first in the 2024 series of webinars in this SportsDirect Gaelic4Mothers&Others webinar series. Absolutely delighted that you could join us on this webinar. And I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by some special guests for this different format this evening than we're used to. Tonight is going to be very much an informal chat. Tonight is going to be about speaking about people's experiences, speaking about how people have capitalized on the program, how the program has influenced people in their journeys, their Gaelic Games journey, and how the program can be utilized in your own club to maybe gain the same experiences as our guests. So I'm going to start off, as I can see the screen on my top left, we have Trasa Ryan. Trasa is from the ULA Club in Limerick. Say hello, Trasa.
Hello.
Then we are going to go to bottom left, Glenda Murphy. Glenda is from the St. Anne's Club in South Dublin. Say hello, Glenda.
Hi, everyone.
And my bottom right, we have Kat Murphy from Mungret St. Paul's, also in the county of Limerick. Say hello, Kat.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so that's the short introductions out of the way. And I suppose I'm just going to go straight into this. And as I said, I'm just have welcomed everybody to the series. Just if you cannot hear at any point, just leave the webinar and join back in. And you'll hopefully have the audio issues sorted at that stage. And if you want to ask a question, the chat function is also live. So please feel free to type into the chat function. I will get to the questions at the end. If you have any specific questions or comments for our guests, please feel free to type it in the chat function. So as I said, I'm just going to jump straight in here and get the chat off to a flyer. So Trasa, I'm going to start off with yourself down in Ula in the county of Limerick. Would you mind just giving me a bit of background as to how the Gaelic4Mothers&Others program got going in Ula, how it kind of took a foothold, and then the expansion of it within the club setting?
Okay, so I'll go right back to the very beginning and say that I was lucky enough to be born into a J stronghold house where I was reared and going to games, whether they be for school, club or county, with my parents. Jay and religion went hand in hand. My mother looked after everything in the house. My father looked after Jay. And I suppose I'm extremely grateful that I have wonderful memories of going to matches with him. And now that I'm doing the same with my own two girls, it makes it all the extra special that I can hand on that love of the tradition of Gaelic games. Growing up, there was no LGFA in Cloyne in East Cork, where I grew up. If there was a football produced, it would have nearly been punctured. It was all hurling. So I'm delighted that the opportunities are out there now for everyone. We had great days and not so great days. And I suppose the not so great days, we were taught resilience of no matter how bad you felt after a game, the sun always came out tomorrow. And that's still the same for now for everyone that participates in sport. And then I moved to Ula in County Limerick, very small village right on the border. And I suppose I started my family straight away and suffered horrendous hyperemesis, if anyone knows what that is. It's extreme sickness, and it would have been a very isolating, lonely time. Then had the girls and kind of fell into a little bit of a rut, I suppose, that comes with being a new mother. You're in a wonderful bubble, but at the same time, it's all very lonely and, you know, isolating at times when you're living in a small village. So after a while then, one of my little girls got very sick actually, and that was another hard period. But eventually I came out of the fog and that all kind of lifted, and I knew there was an LGFA club in Ula being spearheaded kind of by Richard Bowles, and he's a great football person and he's a great block to bounce anything off. So we actually rang him up, my husband and myself, around the same time my husband's sporting career was kind of coming to an end. And he was kind of nearly struggling with that. And we asked him, we knew there was under 8s, but could we set up a nursery? So we went to the first night with 5 girls, which 2 were our own. And within weeks, it was like they were coming from all angles, the children, and it was brilliant. And then we were above one night and a parent just said, while she was kicking a football around, wouldn't this be great if we could come up and just kick a football, but with no kids? And I was like, that sounds brilliant. And I remembered seeing about a Hada club in East Cork that they had played in Pro Park. So I literally Googled Gaelic4Mothers&Others and found all the information that I needed online. And it rolled from there. I asked Derek, would he help with coaching? And at the beginning, he was kind of like, oh, Jesus, just like social games, you know, you only play to be competitive and to win. And I was like, look, give it a chance. And talk about the converted. Recently, I heard someone saying to him, we were at a blitz, and they were like, Jesus, Derek, I never thought I'd see you involved in something like this. And he said, well, I'll tell you now, they're never late. They don't back chat. They'll do what I ask of them, and they'll support everything. And that's how the Mothers and Others took off. And I suppose it continued that sense of what I had my whole childhood, that sense of community and support that you get from being involved in the organization. And that's exactly what it has created in ULA. It has created a hub for women, where they can come. And I always say, if no matter what's on your mind, you will find someone at Mothers and Others that you can chat it out with, because they have such life experience, and we're there for each other through all the highs, but through the lows, because you'll never meet a group of women other than the Mothers and Others that have been through such diverse experiences. So yeah, and then I was Healthy Club officer around the same time that came about, that I went to one of the conferences, and you know, that's a brilliant role as well. And it's a role that every year it's kind of like, are you going to be Healthy Club officer? And I'd be so slow to give it up, because it's actually a lovely role, and it links in with an awful lot of the social side of things. So yeah.
That's I think what your story that you've given us there, and your journey that you've given us there, straight away the hashtag my reason why comes into my head a lot. But I think that a lot of the sentiments will resonate with a lot of people who are listening to this webinar, or watching this webinar, either live or watching it back. You know, that sense of, you know, okay, I need something to get me up and active again, you know, maybe after having kids, or maybe moving to a new area, you know, and maybe feeling like a blow-in in a sense. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way to anybody, but look, I moved to an area and I'm involved in my new club as well, and you know, at certain times you're going, am I a blow-in here? But then when you really kind of ingrain yourself in something like Gaelic4Mothers&Others, you know, you realize that there's so many people who are in the same boat as yourself as well. And again, as you said, that kind of took you on a different journey then. You know, you were speaking, well, actually the nursery part came first, and that's actually again, that has echoes of how the Gaelic4Mothers&Others program actually first was created. It was because it was people noticed that there were mothers standing on the sideline, and other people standing on the sideline supporting as well. And you know, hey, they can kick a ball too, you know. So it's fantastic to hear that, you know, the Gaelic4Mothers&Others program was the knock-on effect of something else, and then that has had the knock-on effect onto something else also. And that you were heavily involved in setting up the nursery there with Richard. And of course, everybody knows Richard's academic and coaching prowess as well. So great to have somebody like himself on board. And again, something as rewarding as a nursery, being able to set that up is incredible. If you haven't checked out the LGFA nursery program, it's a shameless plug. And then look, you were onto the Healthy Clubs officer. And speaking of that, Glenda, we're going to go to yourself, because you are also involved in that strand of Gaelic games within your club. But Glenda, I suppose it's going to be a similar question to yourself. You know, each of us is going to have our own journey as to how Gaelic4Mothers&Others came into our lives, into our club. Would you mind just giving us a bit of background on how St. Anne's in South Dublin embraced Gaelic4Mothers&Others?
Yeah, sure. What happened was I had friends in other clubs who had spoken about what a good program it was. In particular, a friend I used to play soccer with. So unlike Trasa, I apologise, I am not from a Gaelic background at all. I was soccer, tennis, swimming, all sports. And then like that, I went off and I had my kids. I wasn't really involved in much, to be honest. And the GPO, Lee Moroney, came to my children's school and asked them would they come up and play. So my son Matthew went up when he was 4, and like that joined the nursery, and we got involved, and from that I got to know Lee, and I became health and wellbeing officer in St. Anne's, which is a job I love, promoting sport and health as well. And from that, and known about the Gaelic4Mothers&Others, I was standing on the line thinking, God, I'd love to be out there. And I kind of suggested it to a few people, but it didn't. I think there was a team before, and it kind of faded away. So I kind of mentioned it around the club. And then in September in 2019, I backed away a little bit. My dad passed, and I did struggle with it a lot, and I wasn't up in the club as much. And someone from the club rang me actually and said, look, remember the Gaelic4Mothers&Others? There's another girl interested in doing it, and another. So maybe if I put the three of you together, would you think about it? So it was there I met Grace Hillard, who the two of us now look after the St. Anne's team, and Jacinta came on board at the start. So we started the first night we were indoors, we'd 40 women turned up, which was amazing. And we'd a great first night, and it went well, and we really got into it. And then we announced, because we started about the end of October, that we were going outside. So we lost a few people because they're a bit, what, outside to play? So we did lose a few people there. However, we went outside and we got kind of guest coaches in every week. Myself and Grace looked after kind of organising blitz and registrations and all that, and having the equipment. And then we got coaches involved. And then it just grew and grew and grew. And then the pandemic hit, and what we did was kind of this: we stayed online, and we actually made a video during the lockdown to keep everyone involved. Like, I was kicking a ball, then the next person caught it, and then we made this video, and it went kind of, well, I wouldn't say viral, but it was quite popular, and it kept us all involved. And during the lockdown, we all kept in touch. Couldn't wait to get back out playing, which we did. And then we had a manager when we got back, and a coach manager, and he helped us along as well with skills and different things. And a lot of our players had never played football before, and it was great for them, like, to come up. And myself and Grace were constantly talking to people, because a lot of kind of parents on the line were a bit, oh, I wouldn't be able to, oh, that wouldn't be for me, and I've never kicked it, oh no. And then we'd say, after the games we sometimes go into the bar, and it's a bit of social. So they were like, oh, okay, we'll try it. And a lot of them have never played, and they loved it. So as I said, it just went from strength to strength. We got another coach then last year, and this year we're actually started back tonight outdoors. For the last 3 weeks we did Pilates indoors, so I'm actually missing my training tonight, but that's what happened. And it grew. We 40 members in our WhatsApp group, and it's led on to different things in our club, like Come On and Chats, and the Gaffer Dads as well. So it's very successful.
Brilliant. And I suppose what jumped out for me there was that your description of yourself as, you weren't a Gaelic Games person or from a Gaelic Games family.
Sorry.
But isn't that the beauty of the program? And that's the beauty of the way Gaelic Games have gone. It's the gates are open, the arms are open wide for everybody to come in and enjoy the games. And you don't have to be from a certain background. You don't have to be from a certain ethnicity even. It's open for everybody, and that's what we always look at. And I suppose, in terms of looking later at your journey as well, you were talking there about you're losing your dad as well, and a lot of people go through that kind of life-changing moment, where your life-altering moment, where something triggers and you go, do you know what, I'm going to do this for me. And that might not be your one, but a lot of people around or who are watching this might say, you know what, that's actually my reason why,
Yeah.
and they're the type of conversations that I suppose a group having with each other that can really help people relate with each other, and just in terms of the journey then that you went on to become so prominent in your club. And so as we'll come back to a few of your other endeavors later on in the webinar, because it is incredible the how involved you are in your club. And Kath, speaking of being extremely involved, you're still playing competitively. You're not a Gaelic4Mothers&Others participant. You are a coordinator and coach, but you're playing competitively. But again, I suppose similarly to our other two guests, do you mind just giving us a bit of background as to how Mungret embraced the Gaelic4Mothers&Others sponsored by SportsDirect program?
Yeah, well, for me, I still play junior Now I played a lot of sports, rugby, soccer, basketball, badminton, but it was always the love of the GA where I fell back into. And whether it be coaching or do admin work, it was always, I've never been involved in soccer, rugby at admin or coaching or anything like that. It was always the GA. And we started, I suppose we were lucky. We had just literally 2 weeks started when COVID hit and we were shut down. So we were done and dusted. And I had kept getting text messages, will it start again? Will it start again? But as soon as we got the go ahead, it was like, yeah, we're starting again. And we had up to, I'd say about 40 members. And we were outside always. We had no indoor facilities, we'd no astro. So you were starting back then and the weather wasn't great, but we still kept our members up. But everyone then was saying, like, is there other stuff we can do to grow it? And we had a lot of our participants got involved in the Mungret Club itself. We got a few Gaelic4Mothers&Others were coming down. They had been training with the G4M for a few weeks and they were like, yeah, it's very enjoyable. And then they started their kids at the underage. They actually said, I would actually love to try the coaching side of it as well. So we got a few of the Gaelic4Mothers&Others to help out with our under 6s up to our under 12s at coaching, and they absolutely love it. So there is more than one side to just coming down training and meeting the girls. It's an hour away from putting the kids to bed, doing homework, that we're meeting each other 2 or 3 times a week at underage matches. Or at fundraising events, where if there's ever fundraising events on, they're so happy to help. Underage disco, yeah, the Gaelic4Mothers&Others, that's their involvement in organising, and that's their bit of help. So there is so much more than just coming down and being a player.
The skill sets that Gaelic4Mothers&Others possess, you won't find in any other strand of the club. And I always say that. And the fact that they were so open then to jumping in with the nursery kids, the under 8s, you know, like, I mean, I wouldn't say there was much twisting of arms.
No. They came down because we had put out that if we don't get enough coaches to help out, we cannot continue with our under 6, 8s or 10s. So unless you help out, and they were like, okay, I'll go down and try it. They absolutely love it. Now, they've done the basic fundamentals, nothing fancy, just your basic training, and they're 2 or 3 years into it now, and they love it. Yeah, and it's so nice then that even a few of them have said, it's so nice that I know what my kid is going through as well. I can teach her a few skills, or vice versa. They're out in the green in the front playing, kicking a ball to a mother and daughter. Sure, that's lovely, like.
Absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And we talk about our role models, don't we? You know, looking at your mother kicking a ball. Your role models are right in front of you. I constantly say that, you know, they're not on a TV screen on a Sunday. They walk among us. And that's so incredible to see that is being transferred back onto our next generation. Hopefully they continue that. Now, Kat, I'm going to stay with you just for a second. You are obviously involved as the coordinator, as the coach of the Gaelic4Mothers&Others group in Mungret St. Paul, but you also are active on a national level. Would you mind giving us a bit of background as to how you are involved in the national level?
Yeah, so I started playing in my teens, loved it, and up along, and I was saying, like, what else can I do to get involved? So I started refereeing at a local club level. That was great. And then there was I don't know how we got involved, but the word came back that would I be interested in doing Lions match official at national games. And I said, sure, I suppose it's the next step. We'll see how it goes. And I said, yeah, and that was back in the early 2000. So, and I'm still doing it. So it's not just from like doing line above in Crow Park, and then the following week you're blowing your local club training Gaelic4Mothers&Others. There's such a huge amount of it's not all about training, and like Gaelic football is, you have your training, you have your admin, you have your playing. There's so much, there's something there for everyone. And I continued on that, and I'm still doing it, and I love it. All aspects of the GA. It's not just whether I'm a player, or oh, that's Card the secretary, oh no, that's Card the Lions person, or so. There's a bit something for everyone.
Absolutely. And again, I suppose the message I would take from that is that there's so many strands that if you're involved in the Gaelic4Mothers&Others group in any way, shape, or form, you can branch out into so many strands, and officiating could be one of them. And as Kat will attest to, it's extremely enjoyable. And like, I mean, I always love bumping into you on match day in Croke Park, you know, under the tunnel, and we'll have a quick chat, and then seeing you actually out there and on the pitch, it's just brilliant. Like,
love, I wouldn't change it for anything. And it always comes back to the GA. Like, Mum and Dad were hugely involved, brothers and sisters were. We all played, and we all just keep falling back to the GA, the GA, the GA.
Absolutely. So speaking of being involved in Croke Park, Glenda, St. Dan's have recently had a run out there. Am I right in saying that? Glenda frozen. We'll come back to Glenda. Trasa, okay, we'll jump back to you, and hopefully Glenda, her connection reconnects. Trasa, going back, I suppose, in something that you said there earlier on around health and well-being, there's also a GA for all that you're involved in the club as well. Would you mind just giving us a bit of background to that as well, for people who don't understand what that particular program is about, how it can impact the wider club?
Yeah, and I suppose that would never have happened only for the nursery Mothers and Others. So a mum rang up to register her little boy, and it became apparent she had 2 other children at home that had autism, and she felt she couldn't register them because that they might not, it seems crazy to think it, but that they might not be welcome. Because they were autistic, and it was horrifying to hear. And it was also kind of horrifying to hear her thinking of, you know, that's just the way it should be. And around the same time, I was at the Healthy Club conference in Croke Park, and for anyone that hasn't been, it's an absolutely amazing day, whether your club are involved in healthy clubs or thinking of getting involved in it. It's just a brilliant feel-good day, and there's lots of different workshops going on. And I picked the Inclusion and Diverse workshop led by Jeremy McTavish and a girl from Cork called Sinead Crowley. And just listening to different stories of what some clubs were doing for children with extra needs, I felt inspired. And like that, I kind of asked nearly a couple of the Mothers and Others, would they help me in getting it up and running? And we did, and it took off. And, you know, I was thinking about this over the weekend, and I'm actually going to tell you the story because I remembered it. So I remembered we set up the Ball for All, and one of the days I stand back sometimes at the Ball for All and chat to the parents and stuff. And there was a dad, and he said, you know, I just want you to know what you've done for me. And I was like, all right. And he said, you know, when my wife was pregnant and having a baby, he said, I couldn't help but think, because he was big into soccer, and he said, I couldn't help but visualize the day I'd bring, we'll call him Daniel to buy his football boots. And he said, like, I was thinking years ahead. And he just took it that it would be a given. And he said, kind of after about, you know, a year, it became apparent that he was severely autistic. And he said they were going through such massive emotions, and he felt such guilt about it, but that he was devastated because he felt he'd been robbed of, like, he's never going to play soccer, you know, he's never going to play sports. And he said he grieved for the dream that he had, that his child would be sporty like himself. And he said, you know, my dream came true yesterday, because he said, I took him to the sports shop, and he was now 8 at that stage. And he said, I took him to the sports shop and I bought him a pair of football boots. And he said, Trasa, it doesn't matter if he never puts them on him again, or if he doesn't come here again. But he said, what happened for me and my son yesterday, I will forever be grateful to you. And I was like, oh my God. So if you're looking for something rewarding, it's the most rewarding initiative to get involved with. And that little boy is still coming to us 3-4 years on. he does some things, he doesn't do other things, but he is so welcome. His mum and dad are welcome. He has an older sister who's absolutely amazing. She comes with him, and he's non-verbal, but the only word he can say is home. And he might do 20 minutes of the session and say home, and they know they have to leave. Or he could do 60 minutes of the session and he'll say home. And it's just where that has grown from what it began for us. It's the most rewarding initiative. And again, there's a couple of mothers and others that are driving that and that I depend on. Yeah, so that's, if anyone wants to know any information about that, it's under the GAA for All. There's lots of information out there. Germ Activist is brilliant to give information. And then, of course, there's loads of people like me that are doing this in our clubs, and we're only actually happy to help other clubs, because I suppose that's what we want to see, that, you know, as a mum, a lot of us are mothers, all any of us want is our children to be included. And I suppose unless you actually see or witness or hear it, it's a hard thing to hear. We only do it every second week, and it's a brilliant initiative.
I'm meant to be hosting this webinar, and I think you're trying to make me cry, because that's deeply moving story. And if somebody asked you to come up with something like that, you couldn't write that. That's incredible, and it does show you the power that the club setting has, and giving somebody that opportunity to take part in our games, and that's what establishing an all-star program or a ball for all program in your club can do. And again, as Trassa said, if you want to get in touch with Ger McTavish, or you can even drop me a little email, I link in with Ger quite closely on several programs, or else just go to the GAA's website and look and search for diversity inclusion section, and you'll find all the info there on how to set it up. But a hugely rewarding endeavor, and you know, well done, Trassa, and everybody down in Ulan establishing that and getting it going. Glenda, you're back with us. But you're muted.
No, I'm back now. I'm back.
That's good. That's good. The power's back in South Dublin, is it?
It's back.
I'm a real North Sider, so.
Oh, it's perfect over there, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. We all have solar panels. So Glenda, what I suppose what I would like to discuss with you now, and I suppose I was moving on to my next topic, but you have, although you're heavily involved in Gaelic4Mothers&Others there, and you know, leading the charge, I suppose there's other social aspects to Gaelic games that you're also involved in the club. Would you mind just giving us just a quick synopsis, because it is quite a heavy list of what you're involved in. I don't know where you get the time from, but just a quick synopsis of or run through of what exactly you are taking part in.
Yeah, what we did was, after Gaelic4Mothers&Others, people start watching what myself and Grace were doing, because it looked so much fun, and we were around the club and we had our matching tops and like that. As Trassa and Kat said, all the mothers were involved in different aspects in the club. They became coaches, the word spread. So the Camogie ladies approached us and said that they had heard of an initiative from the GAA called Come On and Chats, and it's basically Camogie, the same as Gaelic4Mothers. So they linked in with myself and Grace. Louise and Aisling are their names, and we basically set up Come On and Chats. Now, currently, Come On and Chats is the biggest team in our club. We have 63 women playing Camogie at 6:15 every Friday evening, and they love it. It's just amazing. And I would say probably 60% of them never picked up a hurl in their lives, and they're out, and it's brilliant. They love the blitzes, they're playing, they exercise on the Friday. It's an amazing part of the club. And like that, they're all now doing their foundation courses. St. Anne's they put on courses quite a bit for people to get involved. So we seem to have no end of coaches at the minute, which is absolutely, like, it's incredible. If you're up in the club at any time and you see all the parents, that they're not so much standing about now, they're all involved. So that was the Come On and Chats for the ladies. And then the dads were wondering why were they left out, because it was, you know, they were being left at home. So for that, we looked up, and there's the Gaelic4Dads, Gaelic4Dads and Lads, which is another GAA initiative, obviously enough, and we set that one up. Grace, myself, and Louise started it. On the first night, I think we had about a couple of men. They were a little bit shy, but they watched, and Jamie helped us out too, and a few others. And now the dads, it's absolutely flying. So much so they're all off to Portugal this year, I think. And every, Wednesday and Friday, we've gone to 2 nights for that. Wednesday for hurling, and Friday is for the football. And they're the 3 teams are very, very successful. So when you put them all together in the club in St. Anne's, there's we've over, I'd say, about 120 members with all them social clubs. So like that, anything that needs to be done in the club, we've no end of helpers. Everybody's helping out, and there's a great bond. A lot of the dads are married to the Gaelic4Mothers&Others, and there's great banter within the club about the whole thing. Very successful.
So, in a nutshell, social Gaelic games is the way to go.
Oh, it's absolutely the way to go. I don't know how any clubs are not doing it. I'd 100% promote it, and we've helped other clubs. In fact, last Friday at the Come On and Chat, our rivals across the way are now friends, Thomas Davis. They came over to have a look to see how we did things, and they're setting it up now. So any clubs anywhere that myself and Grace can help you out with, we had absolutely no problem at all.
I'm just thinking how fun a Gaelic4Mothers&Others and Come On and Chat's wedding might be.
I could officiate.
There's a fundraiser in that. There's a fundraiser in it.
I can do an online license and just.
Good idea, Vinny.
We could do a webinar for live streaming. But that's absolutely. And St. Anne's have recently had a run out in Croke Park for Gaelic4Mothers&Others also.
Yes, you advertise this every year that you make you kind of make a video and send it in. So we did it for a few years, but the laugh we have doing it, it's super. So all the girls say, "Oh, what do we do?" You have to kind of do something different. So this year, it was actually Grace who came with the idea that it's like what we do in our day jobs. And so everyone in the club or in our team got involved, and then we put it all together and we made a video, and it's what we do during the day, and then in the evening you see us all meeting up, and this is our team and this is why we're involved. And we won, and we got to play, well, I don't know if the word win, but we were selected, and we got to play a half-time in the All-Ireland ladies final out on the pitch. It's like a life moment for all of us. It was just amazing, but all possible through Gaelic4Mothers&Others. So it was just great. I'd recommend that as well. Just make your video. I mean, the laugh you'll have doing it, it's super, absolutely super.
So some of the offerings that we get into us are just incredible. The creativity, stuff you could never come up with in your wildest dreams, and you can see the smiles on people's faces as they are sending in those videos. They're trying not to laugh in the middle of them, and like when I see them, I am just cracking up with some of them. They are absolutely brilliant. So anybody who is watching the webinar, get on board if that's the route that we do go for the competition next year. Get your cameras ready. Kath, I'm just going to jump to you for a second as well. You also have a prominent role within your club. Would you mind just giving us a bit of feedback on, or a bit of insight into that prominent role that you have?
Yeah, I'm club secretary for the ladies football side of it. So now we have more registered girls than we do boys in the club. So we cater from under 6s, 8s, 10s. We've 2 under 12s, 2 under 14 teams, 2 under 16 teams, minor, 2 adult teams, and our Gaelic4Mothers&Others. So the logistics of pitches and referees and organising matches. Yeah, so it's a full-time job, but an enjoyable full-time job. Yeah, but you get help then along the way if you ever need it, it's very enjoyable.
You have that support network there, I suppose, as well, when you're, maybe running events that, you can call on the Gaelic4Mothers&Others, or, you can call on certain people who are ingrained in the club and can, come in when needed.
Exactly. And we have pitch-wise, our facilities were we were having weighed, like, we fielded 46 teams last year in all across all codes, football, camogie, hurling, and we only had 2 pitches. So we had to kind of get used for one or two of the local schools. But now this year, we've a big development down in Mungret. We've another full-size, full-lit pitch. We have an Astro and a ball wall. So that is a huge advantage to us this year. The ball walls were open last October. So they've been going, kids train them all since last October, right through the year. Once you pass Mungret at 4 o'clock in the evening, the lights are on up until 9 o'clock. There's somebody on the Astro, which is a great addition, and hopefully our other pitch will be up and running by the end of the summer.
That's incredible growth. I can see Trassa scribbling away there. She's like, right, Ula, need to get the into gear.
How did you know?
But no intra-county rivalry there.
No.
So folks, Trassa, I'm going to jump back to you. If you had one key message, I suppose, about the Gaelic4Mothers&Others program, my reason why, or here's, what keeps me going, what do you think that would be, in an overall sense, if you could speak to every Gaelic4Mothers or potential Gaelic4Mothers&Others participant?
It's the hour in your week that you didn't know you needed.
Wow.
That 1 hour will do so much for you, and the connections you will make will last you your 7 days, your 12 months of the year. And when I heard a while ago about Kat saying something, I actually wrote it down, that come on, mammy. It takes an awful lot to stop women and to stop them to be silent. But when you're playing a Mothers&Others game, and it doesn't matter which team the child says it from, all the women will nearly stop to admire it when they hear, go on, mammy. Actually, I remember being at a blitz somewhere, and one of our girls that was taking part, and she had a teenage son, and he was going through that age where he kind of was too cool for school, and Mark is his name, and I remember she scored a wonderful point somewhere, and he shouted out, go on, mammy, and literally everyone was like, it was a great moment to hear him, who was a great sports player himself, but to hear him acknowledge his mother and recognize her for what she did. I thought I wrote something else down, but I can't remember now. But anyway, that was that point.
Totally, Robin, that first phrase, if I can remember it perfectly, it's the hour in the week that you didn't know you needed. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Robin that. So, somewhere. I'm going to rob it somewhere. I'll use it somewhere. Kat, I'm going to jump to you. If you could describe to somebody who has never seen Gaelic4Mothers&Others before, is prospectively thinking about getting on board, or is maybe new to the program, what has it given to you?
No, I don't have kids myself, so I know nothing about like that. Okay, my child is loving whatever, but anytime we have a blitz and you go down, the amount of kids, male or like boys and girls, that are below and just waiting to see, that's my mammy, she's going to play now. Oh, look, it's great. Go on, mammy, score. Or even if they miss, mammy, you should have scored that. I would have scored that. Just listening to kids talking about their mothers out on a pitch is just great. And 2 words, family, because you'll always get the husbands go down or boyfriends go down and watch them play, and enjoyment. The amount of people that enjoy it, they will come off the field laughing and joking. There won't be anyone, oh, we should have won that game, was the referee's fault, or that was a goal and it wasn't. It will just come off, lads, did you see that goal that I should have scored, or the hand pass that I didn't give? But they will come off laughing and enjoying it.
Brilliant. So Glenda, I'm going to leave the final word to you before we wrap up. And I suppose it's a similar enough type theme. If you could describe your own Gaelic4Mothers&Others journey, and maybe the journey of others in your club, how would you describe that?
I think I like what Trassa said, the hour, that's for you. I think it's the need to belong and be part of something. And I think when you're a parent and you're watching matches, you know, you're watching kids, but when you're part of something and you're helping your own kids and they're watching you, it's that belonging. And I know in our team, we great bunch of girls, I'm sure, like Tressa and Kath, and you've so much in common with these people, and you get to talk about all kinds of things when you're training, and you know, there's a lovely bond and you feel part of this lovely thing. And that's really what it is. It's a special group that you have to be in it to understand it. And that's why we all around the club, we're always saying to people, you should join. And I've never met anyone who's joined and have regretted it, because it's just that need. It's being part of this wonderful thing, and that's really, you know, what it is. And like as Trass was saying about people coming to watch the matches, like our husbands come, our partners or whoever come and watch, and you can see they're kind of, at the start they were a bit, and now like their admiration, because it's amazing when you see all these women out playing and the kids are shouting for them and like that, come on mommy, and it's a brilliant thing to be involved in.
I get such enjoyment now, Sarah, of being at the blitzes and seeing the men pounding the sidelines with the babies and the bottle and the napkin bag.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gas, yeah.
I suppose the three of you have I suppose articulated the general feeling of what the program does, but I suppose there's nobody I suppose has really been able to pinpoint some of the key phrases and themes that you have been able to give us on this webinar.
And sorry, Vinny, just one more thing there. Just outside of the training, now we do 1 or 2 social events where sometimes they're like, oh, can we do something different, or can we do? We've gone kayaking, we've gone hill walking, we go out on nights out. So it's not just about coming down a Tuesday for the hour and we'll see you next week. We try maybe once every 6-7 weeks, try different activity, and it's just as important as well, and they will love that, just a bit of change.
It's the all-round experience, isn't it, Kath? And I'm sure Tressa and Glenda, you'd probably attest to that as well. Like it's not just the hour in the week; it's a whole social network.
But like I said at the start now, because the weather wasn't great, we did 3 weeks of Pilates for the last few weeks, and it was something different. Some people hadn't tried it. We do have nights out, and we're planning a good few things for 2024. So watch this space.
So listen, folks, if you wouldn't mind just staying on, we are going to take some questions. But in terms of the actual webinar itself, we're going to wrap it up there. I just want to thank you for being absolutely brilliant guests and panelists, and being so honest and open and candid, and sharing your experiences of the Gaelic4Mothers&Others program. I want to sincerely thank our sponsor, SportsDirect. Without them, this series wouldn't be possible, and a lot of what we do in the program wouldn't be possible either. So they're great partners to have, and we look forward to a brilliant year ahead with SportsDirect and the Gaelic4Mothers&Others program. As I said, I'm just going to hang on after the webinar concludes, if we don't mind, for a couple of minutes, just to answer a couple of questions that have come in. But from me and from everybody else, just want to thank you for tuning in. I hope everybody has enjoyed the webinar. Once again, thank you, sincere thanks to our guests this evening, Tressa, Kath and Glenda. So from us, good evening.